Over the weekend, our female athletes made Nigeria proud again at the just concluded Commonwealth Games in Birmingham City, United Kingdom. Nigeria won a record-breaking 12 gold medals, all women. Like today's our shoulder pad is very, very high. So today was celebrating all the women, our women who are now pace setters anywhere and everywhere around the world. What are your thoughts on this? There's something about sports. You know, sport unifies us.
Everyone.
And I just felt so happy. It was more like, what's going on? There were times when we go for these games and we get nothing. And it's not because we don't have talent, but to now see that our women had the platform to showcase themselves is just so humbling and joyful moment for everyone. BC, how was this weekend? At least out of all the things that happened, this should be something for you to smile about.
Yes. I was all smiles because it just occurred to me that we can actually begin to put our names in the global map positively. Every time you hear Nigerians this, Nigerians that, we don't hear the positive sides. It's always somebody has carried drugs, somebody has done this, somebody has done that. But now it still shows that even though it looks like we're struggling a bit, we can still do something. And this, for me, should make everybody wake up to understand the responsibility that lies with all of us in ensuring that in our little corner, even if I'm not jumping 100 meters here, wherever I find myself, that I have to be excellent, I have to put in the work, I have to be dogged, I have to have integrity. As in, I should put my hand on my chest and say, as a Nigerian, I don't tell lies. Like, we should be known for good things, and we should work on it gradually.
I'm super super proud of these ladies. They've given me something to look. The weekend, it was just weddings for me. And then I heard my husband increasing the volume and cheering from the parlor. I went to join him, and I was so happy that this is good news. And the other part of the news that was trending online can be forgotten because of these ladies. God bless them. But it must be said that they didn't hop into this week. If you look at Amusa's story, we shared it the week before, how she had to start early. The number of times she was told no, she was turned down by the country that gave her scholarship eventually. And, you know, she kept pushing. That persevering spirit that we are known for. I remember in the 90s, like they would say, Nigeria, no matter where you put Nigeria, it will survive. You know, we are known for persevering spirit. May it come back. May this youth, I hope that these are their role models now, and they learn to persevere and look at the ultimate picture, because you get it.
For me, you know, I'm thinking about this and all that women are doing, and I feel that it is the reflection of the gradual change in how we are raising our children, how we're empowering the girl child. There used to be a time that to join sports, a girl child would have to have that conversation of, I don't want to be like a man. I don't want to look like a man. Is this what are you going to do instead of getting married? You know, we're more and more allowing our girls to be who they are, what they want, and just pursue their dreams. And then we're seeing the reflection of that in so many things. And so this is just, you know, telling us that in politics and governance as well, when we encourage women, we will see gold medal behavior and performances in that aspect. In our economy, we have seen it once before, and we'll see it again, you know, in our economy, in our politics, in our governance, in our health, in our education. More women, better performances, and I'm just so proud of us. Look at them. See how fit and how beautiful they look.
So now that we are beginning to rekindle our interest in sports, and sponsorships will now be coming, I think the government needs to position itself so that these people are better prepared. One of the reasons we don't do so well when we go to the international waters is the fact that we do not have that platform to prepare properly. When you go outside the country and see how many months it takes people to prepare before a competition, when it comes to Nigeria, it's just a few weeks. There's a competition, so did we qualify? Are we going? They just start pulling and calling and pulling resources. So we are amazing. You need to go to these local states and see. Go to the local government, the sports council, and see the talents in that place. But the government is not paying attention to them. We need to do more now.
I want to talk about the fact that you don't need to wait for government. These women, probably if they waited for government to be the one to sponsor their entire journey, it probably won't have happened. And there are many people out there right now who feel like, I've gone to do this competition. The government did not pick me up. The government did not choose me. The government didn't see my talent. And because somebody in government didn't see it, that doesn't mean that other people will not see it. Because Toby's story, you know, all these athletes, they had independent people support them. They had foreign coaches pick on them. And that was because they consistently showed up. Not blaming, not complaining, showed up.
Yes,
when they didn't have shoes, they kept running. When they didn't have everything, when the facility, the stadium looks horrible, they kept showing up. And then someone saw their talent and then...
So we're looking at it individually.
Yes,
I am talking collectively,
I get you.
yes. So if we need to be deliberate about harnessing the talent of our youth, the government has a lot to do. At least the basics.
Of course.
We can't be waiting
Then
for
branches,
people to... we can't be waiting for foreigners to come and pick.
Foreign coaches.
Come on. We have ministers of sports who cannot spot anything with pot belly and all that. They do not have history of sports. You cannot love something you have not participated in. You cannot have a love for something that you don't even know how it means. So you collect money, you sit in a meeting, collect money, and you move. And we're going for a representation outside the country. You have pot belly people going to represent, and the people who are doing the work.
Before you shatter the table, let me take a call. Don't shatter this table. Joining us on this segment is the National Coordinator, Congress of University Academics, Dr. Niyi Sumonu. He's a senior lecturer, Department of Physics and Engineering, Physics, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. He will be speaking to us on how to revamp our education system and how to put an end to the ASU strike. We are tired of talking about ASU strike, and it seems unending. So we want to now dig deep into what the solutions might be. On behalf of all Nigerian students, the association, the National Association of all Nigerian students, previous and current, Parents Association of Students, all of us were tired of ASU strike. And I think that we seem to be going around in circles. We've done this strike every time, over and over again. What do you think is what are we missing?
I want to, with profound respect, quote a statement credited to Albert Einstein, that when you do one thing over and over again and expecting a different result is a form of insanity. So we must start thinking outside the box. We can take it to another level of thinking as if there's no box at all. And we don't have in short supply people who can actually solve problems in this country with respect to industrial actions in the universities. For example, we are now in the democratic dispensation. We can take advantage of democratic norms to actually stem the tide of strike action. One of it is to intervene at the end of the legislation. When you intervene and you succeed eventually in getting legislations that will make government responsible, that will make it a problem if the government reneges on agreement, then you have a way out in that. You can also look at the intervention of industrial arbitration panel, because that in discussions in arbitration, then certain decisions can be handed down that will be binding on all parties involved. You can also take the long route of legal action. That legal action, if anybody violates, whether the government or the union, then it becomes a kind of offense or a contempt of the court. If that happens, then that can deepen our democracy. So there are a number of interventions beyond these three I've mentioned that we can bring in to stem this tide of incessant strike action.
So the main issue that we're looking at, no matter how we call it, revitalization, memorandum in 2009 that has not been answered, IPPIS to UTAS, is the issue of money.
Stop.
The government is claiming that they do not have money. No matter how you go around, there is no money. There's no intention to even put in money. There's no plan to do something about providing money to ensure that these people have their needs. How do you go from there? Even if you take a legal action and they say, we don't have money to pay, who do you hold?
I think, thank you very much for that question. I think your question stemmed from the perspective of the government will have to make 100% provision. We can look at alternative sources of funding in the university.
Okay.
The alternative sources of funding in the university can include endowment, can include investments, contracts, can include research grants, can include a number of things that will be different from what government is putting on the table. It's actually very difficult to also believe that the government does not really have the money. They ask Nigerians to live austere life, but what they demonstrate doesn't show that they also live by what it is preached. So, in that kind of example that I just cited, what we will advocate in the Congress of University Academics will be that discussion, transparent discussion, honest discussion should be brought on the table, where all stakeholders, the stakeholders in this sense, will then be expanded beyond the government on one side, the unions on the other side. There are other stakeholders. There are parents, they are stakeholders. Students, who are stakeholders. There are also experts in university administrations. There are also administrators within the universities who have seen it, who have learned, who have since made some mistakes, who have also, in the course of their administration, they've seen some loopholes in what will have made them perform better, but they have some kind of impediment that didn't allow them to do as much as they wanted to do. So we bring all these people on board, have honest discussion. And when you put that on the table, when you have honest discussion and you make it so transparent that Nigerians are also stakeholders, because when you have progress in the universities, no nation can rise above its ivory towers. When you have progress in the universities, it will certainly reflect in the society. It's a ripple effect.
But let me ask you a direct question. Do you believe that we should still be on strike? Do you believe that this strike is necessary at this point in time?
Personally, I do not think so. If the government does what needed to be done, now that we are where we are, you don't get into the water and start complaining of cold. Now that we're where we are, what are the ways out? And the ways out are the suggestions I've just made. This current empress will hand at the table. I heard Miriam saying we have talked too much and what have you. Yes, I agree with you partially. Yes, we've talked. There can't be too much discussion. But we also need action. We also need action on the part of the government.
How do we avoid this damage from being done to innocent children who are supposed to be in school?
It's already been done.
It's done. It's already done.
The only thing is, the point we are now, all the critical stakeholders, I keep on saying that, should come to the table with sense of purpose, with honest mind, with the fact that there will be compromises on all ends. All ends. There will be compromises on all ends.
As we would say that.
Otherwise, what we are doing today will come back to haunt us.
So singer and songwriter Oluwatobiloba Daniel, a.k.a. Kizz Daniel, has been allegedly arrested in Tanzania after failing to show up for a paid concert in the country. Fans of the singer, who had gathered at the venue of the advertised show in Tanzania, left in anger and trashed the place after he failed to show up, according to the viral videos that we have seen. So there are different stories, around social media on why Kizz Daniel did not show up for this concert. And I would like Miriam to help us with some of the things you've heard.
So yesterday also there was a viral video going around that showed, what's his name, Daddy Freeze interviewing, I think, the promoter of the show, who claimed that he had put in about $60,000 for that particular show. he gave the prices of the tables really expensive show, you know. He said a lot of money went into it. But Kizz Daniel claimed that his luggage had not come in, and in his luggage was a particular chain he liked to wear whenever he performs. And if he didn't have that, he would not perform. They said they begged him. They had tears in their eyes begging him because of what they had put down, and people were so upset. Anyway, the police took him. But what we hear is that he's been released, and his lawyers will go back to the police station to finish the conversation.
I followed this trend on Twitter, and somebody carefully just showed pictures that shows that this person is always needed a substance to balance up. So this tweet showed him while walking around with a glass in his hand, obviously. So there was also suggestions online that he didn't perform because he didn't get the needed high to perform.
To get on stage.
Now, this is what breaks my heart, because I don't have a lot of music artists that I farms, but this one, I farms because I saw his pedigree when he had those legal issues with his earlier label. I read that, you know, he was well-read. He's not one of those who skipped school, who don't have a school record. Someone said he had a 2-1. One of these blogs said he had a 2-1. He went to school. When his father passed, they wrote about, you know, he comes from a balanced background. You'd expect some form of responsibility. Yeah. And I'm not talking about money alone. When you enter into contracts, you just must perform. Also, when you enter into contracts and people are looking up, so the farms that scattered the place in Tanzania said they paid as high as $5,000 per table. Wow. These were people, and you're at the height of your career, you're trending, people love you. Humility, just small like this.
Just add it.
You add to this fame, and you're going to go places. You're going to blow. He's an A-list artist, whether he likes it or not. Somebody needs to sit them down. And I know Kizz Daniel is from a family, because I read when his father died about him. He's from a family that grounded. Somebody should sit in there and tell him, you better sit up and give yourself some sense.
I'm telling you.
And drop that cup you're holding up and down.
Collect the cup from him.
Collect that cup from him. Let him start to use his sense that he used to get a 2-1 to handle life.
I agree with you, Nima.
Okay, so we know that he has been on our airwaves back-to-back recently, and we're all celebrating his songs, and every time there's a celebration, his song is the first one we play. But the truth is that on our journey to success, we must be ready to be disciplined, to have integrity, to show up when we say we'll show up. And, you know, this will cost him a lot. It will cost him other deals, bigger platforms, because he has shown that he cannot be trusted in little. I hope we hear from him and hear why that particular chain was important to him. I know of celebrities, actors, you know, boxers, people who wear the same underwear for many years because that's the to go into the ring for boxers, because that's the only, that's a good luck charm. Some of them wear socks. Footballers are known to wear a particular socks that they've worn since they started their football career. So I don't know if that was the sort of hold it has on him, but knowing that money was put into this, there are consequences for every action. You know that money has been paid. What do you want these promoters to do? And if you cannot show up, you must be willing to come before people and apologize.
Before you pay someone to show up, you must sign a bit of contract. And there are rules and there are laws. At first, when I saw that they said the audience started destroying the facility, I felt, hey, Africa started again. But I checked online. Oyinbos too destroy facility. They destroy facility when artists don't come to perform because they're enraged. They've raised expectation. They showed up, cleared their schedule, paid. Even if you're going to get a refund, it will take a while. People need to understand. People travel for this trip. Some people travel out of states to attend. Maybe they're not living in Lagos. They come to Lagos just for an event. Too many things are at stake for somebody to just not show up like that. It must either be a life and death situation. And for artists, people respect you when you show up. There are artists that they'll tell you, people talk about Beyonce's work ethic. The level before any show. Excellent. Like, what's going on? She prepares for the show like this is life and death. And that's the way we must put in our work. Put excellence into your work. Talent will take you so far. It is your character that will sustain that growth. So for me, this is a no-no, and we must frown against it as well as all other artists who do it.
Yeah. So whether or not there's a contract you sign, costs are put into the organizing of events. You know that at that hall, not only will people pay to sit, caterers would have been paid, who would have been paid, you know, people that bought stands and all of that. There's a lot of legal consequences of it to it, whether written or not, because this attitude of Nigeria will just give you your money back. Doesn't take care of anything. The security that they would have put in place to get that place secure enough for you to come in would have cost that organizer something. I wish that organizer, this is not because I don't like Kizz Daniel, just so that we'll set a proper precedent of what a working society looks like. In Nigeria here, when artists default, the management just go back, they do paddy, they settle the things outside, don't worry, you know, just organize 2 others. No. Somebody should take them to court and say, this is how much I have invested. And this is what it cost me for you not to perform. This was my projected profit.
That's it.
And this projected profit was so and so amount. The court, under equity, would award it clear if you're able to prove it, if your lawyer head correct. You know, you will collect your money so that artist next time, when he now sees the consequence, because if you were seeing these things, court processes abroad with artists, when you see the consequence of it, what's his name? One rapper artist, he went bankrupt on this kind of things. He did it too many times. They emptied the guy. He declared bankruptcy.
You don't try this in some places.
Everyone's favorite, please join me in welcoming Dr. Chinonso Ejemba, popularly known as Aproko Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you, I'm fully on you. How did you become Aproko Doctor? What was that about?
Long story, but I'll make it short. So in 400 level, when I was in school, came across this old man who had a stroke. And, you know, we got to the doctor, and the doctor said, these are the things you need to do to prevent a neck stroke from happening. And spent almost an hour. Unfortunately, I was heading to my final year and prepared for exams. And I got back to the ward, and here was the same man with another stroke.
Wow.
And this time, he didn't make it. And so it got me thinking, is it that this man did not understand what the doctor said? And over time, I began to realize that a lot of people are not well informed about their health. And so how can I help pass across this message? And so I decided to audition for a radio, and they said I was not good enough. You know, we'll come back to that conversation later. But no, I would not. So, you know, got there and decided to use the only tool I had in my hand, which was social media. So I started from tweets, and after a while, I decided to make videos. But we try to do it in such a way that it's easier for you to share, because people don't start looking for health information until they need it. So at that point, it's already too late. So we decided to go before they need it.
I like that.
Do you have that kind of attack where people think, let's say they do this one, only you know everything? Or, you know, where people think they know better and they come out, and how do you handle that?
So definitely, people have certain beliefs, right? And a lot of what I say is backed by science and research. And one thing with science and research is it leaves out the anecdotal evidence. So anecdotal evidence is basically, it happened to me or it happened to someone I know. But it's not backed. So you can't say it's replicable in other people. I love when the challenge comes with knowledge, because that's the way I was trained. If you tell me what I said is wrong, tell me why it's wrong. Don't just tell me you're wasting your time. You're this, you're that. If you come off insulting, I assume you don't have any knowledge. And I have zero tolerance to trolls.
So you block.
Immediately. See, my peace of mind. Immediately. I block and keep it moving. Right? But there are people who have had conversations. And in the process of conversing with those people, I get a perspective that I was not seen before.
So you're open.
So I'm able to learn from their own experience. And it helps me. Superior arguments, personal experiences, because it helps me, okay, probably the next time I'm doing this, I need to put in that sect of people together.
You know the way we are.
Yeah.
I've gone to school 7 years. That's if you went to a private university. If you calculate Nigerian ASU issues, you probably would have done more than that. Or let's even say you did 7 years. Okay, you did 7 years.
I did 8.
You did 8 years. You're not shooting video. Please. Daddy and mommy.
To us.
No. Even just from the personal point of view, to your parents, to you, just people in the beginning before you blow. Well, technically you have blown, you have endorsement. But how was it?
Mixed feelings. So when I decided to go into this, when I decided to give it more attention, my parents didn't know. So because I needed to prove something. I wasn't necessarily doing it for the money initially. I was doing it because I could see that what I was doing was actually solving a much-needed problem. I just did not know how to approach it professionally. it was hard initially because fellow doctors were saying I was wasting my time. You know, if you were on Twitter, that was you know, you're wasting your time. You're just a social media person. I can't believe somebody who is a doctor is you know wasting time just tweeting. But there is an entire group of people that are unreached. They have no idea. They're looking for someone to trust that they can listen to. And one of the reasons why, you know, this seemed to work is because you hardly see me in any video wearing a tie, with a lab coat and all that. I come off as your guy.
Yeah.
That's the person you can talk to.
So before Elozonam started to feature with you, would hear Nkechi Philomena.
Those
These
names.
are friends.
Who are
They're
these
not
people?
in trouble. Emeka or Ebuka. Who are these names?
Who are these people?
And Hope is not one of your friends. Who's unfortunate to be.
Your character.
Who are these people?
So, funny enough, Nkechi, Emeka, actually people I know every day. Like,
Poor guys.
so they see me and they're like, they don't know whether to be angry or mad or happy.
That their name has blown.
You know, Pius and Philomena, you know, completely made up people. But for people who ask me, sometimes I tell them, Nkechi broke my heart. Emeka stole her from me. Pius was the person that orchestrated the whole thing. You know, but these are people that they are everyday people. People have come to accept those names. If I don't mention Nkechi now in a video, somebody will say, why didn't you talk about where's Nkechi today?
Where did she go?
But these are still part of the you know ways we try to make health education.
But because what would you say is something that is serious that Nigerians do not pay attention to health-wise, medical-wise? What is it that is so serious you wish Nigerians were more aware of it and did better?
Mental health.
Yes, mental health.
Mental health. And that's one of the reasons why we've not really given it so much, I don't want to say attention, but we've not given it so much spotlight yet.
Okay.
Please, the word is yet. The reason being that style of content may not be well suited for mental health topics. Because it may look like you're trying to, it may look like you're trying to mock mental health issues. So that the long YouTube format is well suited for it. And we are already producing it because the idea is we're going to speak or we're going to hear from people from their own point of view. So in doing that, we help create a community of people who live with the same condition. We're able to break the stigma. And that way, you know, people start talking about it because I feel that mental health is ignored a lot.
There's a lot of stigma.
You know, there's a lot of stigma associated with it. We just assume, once I say I have a mental health problem, this one don't decrease.
What would be your final word to anybody watching right now? What would be your pattern statement? Straight to the camera.
So my pattern statement is this. Your real address is actually your body. And that is the only thing you can actually take care of. Please, treat it like gold.
A man, Adeniyi Jose, has committed after his wife, Chidinma Gloria Ibe, to death at the SDP area of Kwamba in Suleja, local government of Niger State. The late Jose was said to have taken a substance suspected to be sniper and was rushed to the Suleja General Hospital, where he was confirmed dead on Wednesday. Neighbors said the late Jose had over the years been doubting his wife's faithfulness to their marriage. This matter of a wife who, or a husband who you have suspected is unfaithful to you and then taking your own life has become somewhat rampant. I think a few weeks ago we had another person who did the same thing and then attempted to take her life. What do you make of this? Why are we beginning to see people who are not able to handle these issues in marriage, who are not able to pack up their bags and leave when this is happening? Why are we resorting to killing somebody and then thinking of taking your own life? Is it just about the marriage problem, or is there another problem that we likely need to be talking about?
Put and work.
I know just one coding.
It means say you are thinking what I'm thinking.
Please tell us.
You know, so some people are not just whole inside. It's important that we understand whoever it is we are dealing with and how to manage them. Because marriage for me is still about loving the other person. If you want to stay with somebody, you accept them the way they are and the way their mentality is. For some people, they are strong mentally, they can handle cheating. They can take it and say, okay, I'll walk out. And some people, it messes them up. They don't know how to think. So it's not a good thing to play around. You say that, religion tries to regulate it by calling it adultery, putting a punishment hard on it. That, our modern life has helped us to water down. Traditionally, we disgrace because there's always a victim. They will say an unfaithful woman kills her husband. Nobody talks about an unfaithful man. All of those things is because some people don't have the mental capacity to deal with that, issue. So it's important when you're in a marriage. It's either you're ready. If you're not ready to be faithful, committed to one person, don't need to do the ceremony. Let the person understand you're dating him. You're open to open relationship. Don't bother to marry. Do you understand? Leave the thing open. Use your full chest. Carry your way of life. So the person doesn't expect so much of you. But some women, you go all the way to... I'm not judging this person because she's dead and we did not get our own side of the story.
Wow.
I'm just trying to make a case out there for the mental capacity of one person, because what we see here is that one person was able to destroy 3 lives. Himself, his own, her own, and the young, poor son.
There's a child
who did not plan any of their own. So people should have a complex thought process of every decision they're making in life. How does it affect you? How does it affect your dependents? How does it affect people who are around you before you go ahead and do it?
The truth is, this is about mental health, and this is also about conflict resolution. Yeah. Some people have always have never really known how to deal, have never learned how to deal with conflict. When something is really tough, what are the steps to take to protect yourself first, and make sure that you don't make a mistake that you cannot come back from. This is not something that's just happening. It's not like it's rampant now. It's just that I feel with social media, we're able to find these stories and it's a good thing because then we learn lessons from that. We learn lessons from those who have the tendencies to behave like this, and for those who find themselves with people like that, and hopefully maybe see the signs quick enough so that they can leave that area. But, the sad thing about people like this that determined to hunt you down and end a life is we have heard of those who have left marriages like that or relationships like that, and these people would find them until they have done that they have put in their mind to do. And it's just, in cases like that, you just pray also for a strong support system, for strong policies with the government, and social services, maybe provide protection for for any of the vulnerable spouse that find themselves in a situation like this. It's sad. Every time I read stories like that, I just feel sad. Like, this is the end. The death is the end of it.
Everything.
But it's also the beginning, especially when children are involved. And then the families also on the other side. Parents are involved. So imagine the parents of the victim, the first victim. How are they supposed to relate with the family of the man that killed their wife or the woman that killed their husband?
When you're going to relate, you realize that the man has died.
Yes, and then you're looking at a grandchild that you say the father has just done this or the mother has just done this to her child. It doesn't work out well. However you look at it, it just does not work out well. And so I hope that people, when they find themselves in tough situations like that, that they will remind themselves that, I can take myself out of this situation and just save it.
We need to start paying attention to how we raise our children. Some people don't know how to receive love. What they define as love is abusive and toxic. I had a friend in the university who the boyfriend will beat basbos. She will faint. She will be in coma for like 3 days. She dated this guy for 7 years. And her excuse is that he loves me. He loves me. If he sees me talking to a man, he will show that he's the man, that she can't date anybody who doesn't beat her to show that he's territorial. For me, it was ringing in my head like, this girl has no clue, because I came from that sort of home and I told myself this is not the kind of love that I want. How do we begin to help people around us to understand what real love should be?
You see that thing of the girl that talked in university. I remember in class, a lecturer was just talking about something random, and beating came up as a conversation. And this adult girl stood up and said, yes, it's okay for a man to beat. And it was shocking to a lot of us. We were like, whoa. But for her, and also, obviously, where she comes from, is fine. And she tried to justify it. She says, it shows that a man cares for you. He's supposed to be there to guide you and to protect you.
But my father that you are.
Yeah, she's a full adult in the university.
No, she not grow finish.
She not grow finish.
I mean, yes, there has to be, but that is how they've been raised. So we need to speak differently. Young girls, young men too, you must know what these red flags are. Yeah. Don't be with someone that's constantly prodding and poking you. Yes. And pushes you, you know, and you're very angry. When you find yourself in a situation where someone is constantly doing that, take yourself out.
Immediately.
And it's okay to just say bye. You know what? For my mental health, for my own good and my sanity, it's okay to walk away.